stuff. People get on motorbikes, they're not wearing shirts, they're not wearing shoes, they're drunk as skunks, and they're just acting the fool.
How are you? Hey mate, are you right to drive? Oh, no. What are you doing driving the bike? I'm blind.
It's in Bali.
Bali.
The scooter ban.
Threatening to ban. Considering a ban.
On March 12th of 2023, the Governor of Bali made the announcement to ban motorbikes. So here's what we know, and here's what we think, and how it will affect you. If you don't know what we're talking about, here's a little clip from 9 News.
If you visited Bali, chances are you've driven around on one of these. But after a spate of tourists behaving badly on scooters, Australians and other foreign holiday makers could soon be forced to take a back seat.
This is a warning to all foreign nationals who visit Bali to be well behaved, disciplined, respect Balinese culture, obey the laws enforced in Indonesia.
The local governor announcing plans to ban visitors from renting motorised bikes, threatening to revoke visas for those caught breaking the law. For years, Australians have been seriously injured in road accidents on the holiday island, with countless close calls and devastating deaths. But the ban isn't backed by everyone.
From 1977, I get money from renting bike, because no more job in Bali.
Mainstream media doesn't always tell everything, and we did a lot of research to make sure that we got all the facts.
So most of what we've found to make this video is from the Balinese media and the international media.
So after doing all of our research, what we've come to find is that although they are looking at a ban, the main priority is to make sure that people follow the rules that are in Bali.
There are over 150 traffic violations every week in Bali. People not wearing helmets, not having a license, barely clothed, or just being inconsiderate on the road. Pre-COVID, there were on average 1,500 serious traffic accidents a year, and 500 of those died.
There are conversations in the government at the moment to what extent they're going to ban motorbikes. Some are suggesting that you could only hire a car, but as this would cause a lot of congestion, it is also suggested that the option still be there for scooters, but you would need to go to a tour operator so they could ensure you have the correct license, know the road rules, and have a helmet.
Yeah, so basically when we hired our scooters, they didn't care if we had licenses or not. $11 a day, that's all they cared about.
That's right.
Getting the money. And then when we dropped them off, they didn't even meet us.
Yeah.
We gave it to the tattoo shop owner and gave him the keys, and it was like, oh, see ya. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no set thing that they have to, there's no law that they have to follow at the moment. And I think that's where the biggest thing is that the governor's trying to make sure that people are following the right rules so that less people get hurt.
Yeah. Look, all they're doing is they're trying to bring it back to what we have here in Australia. If you ride down the street with no helmet, you're going to get pulled over by the police. You're going to get a wicked fine. I mean, the fines here for not wearing a helmet are huge. So, if you're riding without a license, you're going to lose your bike. You're going to get massive impound fees. You're going to get a huge fine and a court appearance. That's all they're bringing it down to is obey the rules. Like, we went out and got our motorcycle licenses. It cost us nearly $2,500, maybe even a little bit more, just to get our licenses. We have no intention of riding in Australia, but it's so that when we're overseas, we're doing the right thing. If we get pulled over, we've got the license there. Here you go. Here's our international license. Here's our Australian license. They look at it. Yeah, you're wearing a helmet. You're good to go, guys.
And also, you're covered by insurance.
Yeah, that's the big one.
If you're riding on a motorbike in Bali and you have a crash and you don't have a motorcycle license or an international license, or you weren't wearing a helmet, or you were drunk, your insurance is not going to cover you, and it's not going to be cheap to get a hospital over there.
Australian license covers a 50cc or less motorcycle. So if you get a moped like we have here, your normal Australian car license, that covers that. But anything above that, like what we were riding, the 155cc scooters, that's a motorcycle license. You can't be riding them.
If you're in WA, I will put a link to the people we went through for our motorcycle license.
Paul. It's
He
really
was
nice
brilliant.
bikes to ride too.
Yeah, well maintained and just really good at explaining things to you in blonde terms. It's not just motorbikes and scooters that are being discussed either. All tourist behaviour is being talked about. Tourists come to Bali and think they can act like fools, and Bali is trying to curb that before it gets out of control. They're urging people to do their research of local laws, culture, and appropriate do's and don'ts before you visit. You know, you go to another country, it doesn't mean that laws don't apply to you anymore or that you can be a complete idiot towards the locals there. The locals have had 3 years where they haven't had to put up with, you know, a lot of people's crap, and now they're having to put up with it again, and you know.
And they're like, oh, stuff this, like, and we saw it too. We saw it in Kudang. There was, you know, people yelling and screaming and just being at general yahoos.
And then there's also people like complaining about everyday culture in Bali. I mean, there was an influencer who posted on Instagram that a rooster was waking them up, and that the Bali government should do something about it. And if you're going to another country, you need to respect their culture and their way of life. You can't expect the country to change for you. If you don't like that, go back to your own country.
I mean, see my video. I got up at 6:30 in the morning. It was magical. The roosters were crowing, the birds were singing. It was great. If that's what you should be enjoying. We don't kind of hear that here in Australia, you know, unless you're out in the bush. Enjoy it. I did.
Yeah.
Until the law is officially made, we can only hope that tourists start to behave themselves, and the Balinese government will only introduce the licensed tour operator rule, rather than banning bikes altogether.
Anyway guys, thank you for watching. We hope this gave you a little bit of information and made things a little bit clearer for you. I'm a bit. What have you been doing?
Doing anything. What do I look guilty or something?
Very.
Yeah, you put that in your blog. You know what else you put in your blog?
Don't fall.
I hope that comes through crystal clear. Ooh, that's very pooey.
I'm out.
Very pooey.